What's up, Wrestle Scope faithful? And if you're new here, strap in because what I'm about to reveal is going to shake your entire perspective on what went down last night on SmackDown. December 12th, 2025, a date that will forever be remembered in WWE history, but not for the reasons WWE wants you to remember it for. Because while the commentators were selling you one narrative, while social media was exploding with one story, there's something deeper, something more sinister happening behind the curtain that nobody is talking about. And I'm going to expose it all, right here, right now. Let me ask you something, and I want you to really think about this before you answer in the comments below. When was the last time you saw WWE Creative actually care about building a credible women's division? Because what happened last night on SmackDown between Jade, Cargill, and Michin wasn't just another match. It wasn't just another moment. It was a calculated massacre of everything Michin has been building for the past year. And here's what makes me furious. Here's what should make every wrestling fan angry. Michin came to that ring with a kendo stick, a legitimate weapon, the great equalizer in professional wrestling. The same weapon that has taken down giants, the same weapon that has decided championships, the same weapon that has ended careers. And WWE Creative had the audacity to book Jade Cargill to just brush it off like it was a pool noodle at a summer barbecue. Are you kidding me right now? But wait, it gets worse, so much worse. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand exactly why this isn't just bad booking. This is a pattern, this is a problem, and this is a disgrace to every woman who has fought tooth and nail to make the women's division matter. Drop a comment right now telling me if you saw this match and whether you think I'm overreacting. Because trust me, by the time we're done here, you're going to see this completely differently. Let's set the stage properly because context matters in professional wrestling. Michin, formerly Mia Yim, a woman who has paid her dues in every territory you can imagine. A woman who has been with Impact Wrestling, Ring of Honor, the independent circuit, bleeding and sweating in armories and high school gyms when some of these current WWE superstars were still in diapers. She came back to WWE with a chip on her shoulder and something to prove. And for the past several months, she's been on an absolute tear, attacking backstage, causing chaos, bringing that edge that the women's division has been desperately missing. The kendo stick. That became her signature, her calling card. When Michin showed up with that bamboo weapon, you knew someone was going to the hospital. That's character building 101, folks. That's storytelling. Now let's talk about Jade Cargill. There's no denying it. The woman is a specimen. 6 feet of pure athletic dominance. A physique that looks like it was carved from granite by the wrestling gods themselves. She looks like a star. She carries herself like a champion. But here's the uncomfortable truth that WWE doesn't want you to acknowledge. Looking the part and being the part are two completely different things. Jade Cargill has been in professional wrestling for approximately 4 years. 4 years. Now, I'm not saying she hasn't worked hard. I'm not saying she doesn't have potential, but let's be brutally honest here. She's been rushed, she's been pushed, she's been protected like she's made of glass since the day she walked through the door. And last night on SmackDown, that protection reached absurd levels. Breaking down the match. Let's go through this sequence by sequence because the devil is in the details. The match begins. Michin comes out with fire in her eyes and that kendo stick in her hands. The crowd is electric. You can feel the energy. This is a woman on a mission. Jade Cargill stands in the ring with that confident smirk, that I'm untouchable aura. And you know what? Initially that works. That's star power. Michin doesn't waste time. She goes straight for Jade with that kendo stick. And here's where things should have gotten interesting. Here's where psychology should have kicked in. Crack. The first shot across Jade's back. And what does Jade do? She flinches. She sells it for approximately 2.5 seconds. Then she turns around like she just got hit with a wet towel. Crack. Another shot to the midsection. Jade doubles over. Good. That's what you're supposed to do. But before Michin can capitalize, before she can build any momentum, Jade explodes out of it with a shoulder tackle that sends Michin halfway across the ring. Now I want to pause here because this is critical. In wrestling psychology, weapons are supposed to be equalizers. They're supposed to give the underdog a chance. They're supposed to create doubt in the dominant competitor's mind. That's why weapons matches work. That's why hardcore legends like Tommy Dreamer, Mick Foley, and Sandman built entire careers around weapon-based warfare.
When you diminish the effectiveness of a weapon, you diminish the credibility of the wielder. You tell the audience that nothing this person does matters because their opponent is superhuman. But we're not done. Oh no, it gets worse. Michin regroups. She's frustrated now. You can see it in her body language. So she does what any intelligent competitor would do. She goes back to the kendo stick. She starts unloading rapid-fire shots to Jade's back, her legs, her arms. The sound echoes through the arena. The crowd is counting. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 shots. 7 direct hits with a kendo stick. And Jade Cargill? She catches the stick on the 8th swing. Just grabs it out of midair like she's catching a tennis ball, rips it out of Michin's hands with 0 effort, breaks it over her knee like it's a toothpick, then delivers her finisher, Jaded. Michin is done. 1, 2, 3. Match over. Total time, 6 minutes and 32 seconds. Are you sensing the problem yet? Because if you're not, let me spell it out for you. The deeper problem. This isn't just about one match. This isn't just about Jade Cargill and Michin. This is about a systematic problem in how WWE books their chosen ones at the expense of everyone else. Let me take you back through recent WWE history. Remember when Braun Strowman was first being pushed? Remember how he would flip ambulances and destroy multiple competitors at once? Remember how he became so overpowered that when he finally lost, it felt meaningless because the booking had made him look invincible? Remember when Ronda Rousey debuted and was destroying the entire women's roster with 0 credible threats? Remember how that made every other woman on the roster look inferior? This is the same playbook, the same short-sighted booking philosophy that prioritizes making one person look strong at the expense of making everyone else look weak. And here's what makes it devastating for the women's division specifically. The women have fought for decades to be taken seriously. From the days of being called divas and having 3-minute bathroom matches to the women's revolution to main eventing WrestleMania. Every inch of respect has been earned through blood, sweat, tears, and broken bones. When you book Jade Cargill to no-sell weapon shots, you're telling the audience that weapons don't matter in women's wrestling, that the violence doesn't matter, the intensity doesn't matter. You're essentially saying that one woman's look is more important than another woman's entire arsenal. Think about what this does to Michin's character moving forward. She brought a weapon to a fight and lost. Not just lost, but lost convincingly, lost quickly, lost in a way that made her look incompetent. Where does she go from here? How does she recover credibility? If a kendo stick doesn't work, what's next? A steel chair? A sledgehammer? And when those inevitably don't work either because WWE needs to keep Jade looking unstoppable, then what? You've just killed a character's viability. You've just told your audience that this person can't win when it matters. And before you type it in the comments, yes, I know wrestling is predetermined. I know it's scripted. That's not the point. The point is that within the kayfabe, within the reality of the wrestling world, this makes no sense. The comparison game. Let me give you some perspective by comparing this to how other companies handle similar situations. When AEW books their monsters, whether it's Jade Cargill before she left, Powerhouse Hobbs, or Brian Cage, they make them look dominant, but they also show their vulnerabilities. They show what can hurt them. They build to moments where those vulnerabilities get exploited. That's long-term storytelling. That's creating investment. In Japan, when they built Kazuya Odaka into another one of those extraordinary champions of all time, he didn't no-sell everything. He sold for his opponents. He made them look credible even in defeat. That's why when he finally lost the title, it meant something. Even in WWE's own history, look at how they built The Undertaker. Yes, he was supernatural. Yes, he was presented as unstoppable, but weapons hurt him, attacks hurt him. The best matches of his career were the ones where he was vulnerable, where you believed he might actually lose. Look at Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Bret Hart at WrestleMania 13. Austin lost that match by passing out in the sharpshooter, but the way he was booked, the way he refused to tap, the blood pouring down his face made him a megastar. Loss with credibility is better than victory with invincibility. But WWE in 2025 seems to have forgotten this basic principle. They're so obsessed with creating their next giant star, their next crossover attraction, that they're sacrificing everything else on the altar of that obsession. And you know what the tragedy is? It's not even working. The crowd reactions during that SmackDown match tell you everything you need to know. After Jade no-sold the third kendo stick shot, the crowd started getting quiet, not because they were in awe, but because they were confused, because it broke their suspension of disbelief. When Jade won, there wasn't this massive celebration. There was this sort of polite applause mixed with frustration from the section of fans who actually care about logical storytelling. The comments on social media, mixed at best. Half the people are defending WWE, saying Jade's just that good. The other half are asking why should we care about anyone else in the division if Jade can just no-sell everything. Both groups are missing the real issue. This isn't about Jade being good or bad. This is about creative failure. Let's zoom out even further because this Jade Cargill push represents something larger happening in professional wrestling right now. The industry is at a crossroads. We have more wrestling content available than ever before. WWE, AEW, New Japan, Impact, NXT, Independence, streaming on Fight and YouTube. The market is saturated. In this environment, what separates a great product from a mediocre one? What keeps fans invested? Storytelling, character development, logical progression. The things that have always made wrestling great are the things that are being sacrificed in favor of short-term spectacle. WWE looks at Jade Cargill and sees money. They see someone they can put on posters, someone who can do media appearances, someone who looks like a champion before she's even earned that position. And I'm not saying that's wrong from a business perspective, but there's a way to do it that doesn't destroy everyone else in the process. You want to push Jade Cargill? Fine. Have her go through a gauntlet. Have her earn victories against credible opponents.